Yes, we're back, folks. It is Friday night once again on the bus. So, of course, you know what that means. It's time to get that Friday feeling. And I think it's safe to say, after the week we've had, we could all do with a Friday feeling without a shadow of a doubt. But hey, Celtic are back. And hopefully this weekend, they're going to cleanse themselves of that absolute debacle in Dortmund a few nights ago. But as they play Ross County on Sunday up at Dingwall before another international break. Whoop-de-doo. That'll be fun. But yes, we will be going through all of that, and going back and having a wee talk about the Dortmund game as well, have our say on it, because Brendan Rodgers has had his say on it today in his presser, and there might be a surprise at the end of the show as well. Stay tuned for that one, folks. But tonight, we've got a bit of an international flavour on the bus. We're going to have an international flavour permanently going forward, because Pam is joining us regularly now on a Friday, so obviously, Pam, you're in the USA, but you're in the Eastern time zone.
Yep, Eastern Seaboard.
And of course, we've got Liam, who of course is in Canada. So yeah, we've got 8 hours behind and 5 hours behind. So it's a very international show now. But Pam, you're now going to be a regular on Friday nights. How are you feeling? You delighted at that news?
I'm delighted to be on the Friday feeding team. Thanks for having me. And it did soak up the pain of this past week a bit, to be honest. So thank you.
Yeah, I like to call it the Fridays a bit of a therapy session on a Friday, so we can have a good counselling session here about the trauma of Tuesday night. But we'll get all our systems. And Liam, the wise man, you're going to give us some wise words tonight, I'm sure, on that performance through the week. But how are you feeling tonight?
Just coming out the other side of it. It's like having a really bad hangover, and you're just that second day into it, and you're still a wee bit wobbly. I've heard this with people, but I just sort of come to grips with it now. Like, you listen to people, we're still playing good football, we're doing all right. So yeah, I think tonight's about therapy, Friday therapy, right?
That is it. It's the therapy bus, folks. Yeah, come aboard, take your seat, grab your ticket, all that good stuff. And speaking of all that good stuff, you know what to do. You know the drill by now. But I'm still going to tell you anyway. You can hit that like button, help us out in the old algorithms. You, of course, can hit the subscribe button if you haven't done so yet. Then what are you doing? What are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button and keep the bus in your life that wee bit longer. And remember, hit the bell notification and you'll be alerted when we go live, which is quite a lot during the week. Get involved in our comments section tonight, as many people already do. We've got Ian McIntosh is in, Smell the Glove is in, Alan Robertson, Jim Dolan, Graham Tyrrell. Who else have we got? There's a comment from me there. I'm not going to bring that up just now. I might give too much away about the segment later on that's coming back. But yes, folks, get involved in our comment section. And of course, you can share the link in the Bhoycie Bus far and wide. I say this all the time, but whatever social media platform hasn't burnt itself to the ground yet, then feel free to share the link of the Bhoycie Bus on that. We would appreciate it massively. And of course, you can head over to piesports.com and you can use the code BUS1888 and you can get 12.5% off of your tasty pastry treats. And all that said and done, yes, let's talk about what Brendan's had to say today. And it's a bit of deja vu, Liam. I don't know if you've caught the clip of the press conference, but I was getting 2016 vibes, because to take you back to then, we just got tanked off of Barcelona, 7 goals with that one as well. And I remember Brendan getting a bit of stick from the press and whatnot, saying, why were you so open against Barcelona, for God's sake? Will you change your ways in future games? And even then, Brendan was like, nope, not going to do it. And today, of course, he was quizzed on Borussia Dortmund through the week, where, of course, once again, we shipped 7 goals in Champions League game. And he was asked, are you going to change your approach to this? And he, again, was like, don't see the point, really. I'm paraphrasing here, but he did reference things like clubs that do come to Celtic Park, sit 10 men behind the ball. He had 15% possession. They come with, they still end up losing 4 or 5-0. To be fair, when I was watching it on Tuesday night from behind the couch, peeking out every so often, I was getting flashbacks to Scotland in the summer with Stevie Clark, who did set his team up that night with 5 at the back and basically 10 men behind the ball, and basically told Scotland not to even pass the halfway line, and Germany still rattled them for 5 goals, because it was a case of, you're just inviting pressure. So I kind of feel like in this situation, Brendan's sort of damned if he does, damned if he doesn't, where he could sit with 10 men behind the ball, not really have an outlet, and just hope to grind out a draw. And then what could happen to Scotland could happen to him, where as soon as 1 goal goes in, everything falls apart, Liam. Or he could do what he did again on Tuesday night. And again, as soon as 1 goal went in, the old bingo cards, the Celtic doing Celtic things in Europe, everything that could go wrong, tick them off one after the other. Did Celtic concede a penalty? Yes, they did. Did Celtic concede goals in rapid succession? Yes, they did. Was there a goal that was a known goal or deflected? Yes, there was. Was there a goal that was very easily avoidable where we've given the ball away cheaply? There was plenty of them. The only thing we didn't do on Tuesday night was get the red card, which is usually a mandatory thing for us in Europe. But yeah, it's an interesting when you look at it from that point of view where I feel like he can't win no matter what he does, but some people will point to there are teams out there, probably of a lesser budget than Celtic, that have gotten positive results against these teams. So to completely dismiss it like he's done, Liam, to just be like, well, I'm not doing that because this will happen. There's clearly something out there. There is a hybrid out there, and it's his job to find it, really, isn't it?
That's what it is. That's where he gets the big bucks. That's why he's box office Brendan. That's why we're getting hyped up. Yeah, I think it's him to come up with a solution to how to fix this because, I mean, it's sort of showing him up a wee bit, right? He gets that David's Brent comparison every now and again. And you can see where it comes from, where it's like, okay, no, nothing's wrong. No, fine. No, everyone's good. Yeah, 6-1. Yeah, that happens. No, that's not how a Celtic manager talks. It's not how you behave. I think he has to, like, he's trolling us and it's behind the scenes, it's totally different. I think that's what everybody expects or probably believes inside, right? That's really what's going behind the scenes. I don't know. I think he's either mismanaged the confidence he had in the team, the strategy. I mean, it just didn't look like we were trying to play the same football we'd seen the whole time. And I don't think it was them being too defensive. I think we weren't defensive enough. We weren't marking the men. It just looked like we hadn't played against an attacking team all year. And maybe that was the first time. And it just showed the frailties within this team. So we've got to see some great attacking football, but we've never had to see us defend. Okay, that's us having to defend. You know, and I think it should have come out, what he should have talked about was like, yeah, what we learned. Tell us you learned something for that, you know, because 6-1, that's a hell of a doing, and it hurts you emotionally, and it hurts you, you know, as a fan and all that. And, you know, me and Pam, we watch it far away from home, you know. So, I don't know. I think it's a different, I think he has to come out with something different. I don't know. That made me really uncomfortable hearing that today. I thought he had a better plan than that, and I thought, I mean, it's apparent what we need. So,
yeah, it was very bullish of him. Where I say he did it in 2016 as well when he was put on the same spot, the same questions after shipping 7 goals to Barcelona. It was a case of I'm not going to change it. But the thing is, Pam, see when you're coaching a team like Celtic and we are domestically a winning machine, and these players are very much drilled in this way to play, of how we're going to play. Do you think it's difficult at that stage, you know, to get them into that mode to try and batten down the hatches? Because to me, if they're good players, they can adapt to anything and maybe even adapt on the fly, you know, in the game. We love Callum McGregor, we all do, but he was particularly abysmal as well. And of all the bad luck things that could happen, he actually sets up the penalty, the initial first goal that they score, where the boy Gittins runs by and miscontrols it, yet Callum McGregor just happens to bounce off him right back into the path of Gittins. But being on the park, you know, you'd like to think he can be a leader out there and maybe change something on the fly. In the past, we've seen moments like when Joe Hart went over and spoke to Ange and basically told him, what we're doing right now isn't working. We're playing Alkmaar, I believe, in a Europa League qualifier. And we were really under the caution. There was this moment when Joe Hart went and basically said to Ange, we need to push out a bit. So you'd like to think that players on the park can maybe adapt to the situation, regardless of, you know, they've been training a certain way and been playing a certain way up to that point to suddenly change their style. Again, if they're good enough players, be able to do it. But yeah, it did just one of those typical things with Celtic where as soon as the roof began caving in, it was monumental after that. I don't think there was really anything they could do. It was literally an avalanche, Pam. It just didn't get better. Said they could have maybe tried, but yeah, it did seem like it just there was no, the momentum was with Dortmund as soon as they got that first goal. Second one not long after. In fact, well, we were level for what, 40 seconds, I think it was. There's another thing to add to the list of Celtic things in Europe. But yeah, it was just a train wreck really from start to finish, wasn't it?
It was, yeah, to say the least. I mean, you know, generally when I'm watching via Celtic TV, you know, Celtic TV over here, they don't show the video coverage of the Champions League games. They only have the audio commentary. I'm generally raging about that. But on Tuesday, I was actually relieved because I was depressed enough just listening to the commentary, let alone having to watch it. I actually didn't have the heart to go and watch it. I still haven't seen it. And I probably never will.
Yeah, it was brutal. I say hide behind the couch type of stuff. Yeah, it was.
It made me want. It actually motivated me to study. It was that bad.
Yeesh.
But you know, I do agree with you. I think if the player is, you know, good enough, they have several. They're adaptable to different techniques of playing. I think having one playing style set in stone is dangerous. You know, safety comes in diversity in general. And it's not only the job of the manager to, you know, kind of nurture that talent that players would have to adapt to different styles. It's also the manager's job to make sure that you have that diversity within the depth of your squad. So that if you get to a game and you realize, okay, this is different than what I thought it was going to be, I can put on this and this sub and change up how we're playing to better suit it. You know, I understand it's difficult, but, you know, that's why you have experienced players that can play different styles and you have a good squad depth as well to adapt. That's ultimately what he's getting, as Liam said, the big bucks for being this big manager, is his ability to adapt.
Yeah, he's well, I've got this comment from Jim Dolan that's came in and he used the word hope. And that's an interesting thing because the vibe going into the game was obviously there was a lot of hope, there was a lot of belief. Obviously, it was very misplaced. Maybe many of us were being naive. But yeah, it was a weird one, wasn't it, Liam? Where we did seem to think that we can do something here, but yeah, I say it's the same sort of story essentially when it comes to Europe and especially playing these bigger teams. But ultimately, and this is interesting because last night I was watching the TNF, and usually, to put it lightly, myself and Mark, the judge, we're kind of polar opposites of the spectrum when it comes to Celtic and reactions. And Mark even himself admitted it, that he is one of the first to, you know, be over the top with his reactions at times, and usually I'm very much the opposite. But Mark last night was saying, I couldn't agree more with him, Liam, about the bigger picture here. The Dortmund game, regardless of us having hope and maybe, I say misplaced, maybe a bit naivety, it was a free hit essentially in the bigger picture. But I think something subconsciously that's got a lot of fans worried is it's easy enough to say we need to make the home games count. I totally agree, because if Celtic do win the home games, then it's 12 points. But the next two fixtures, there's another away game. We're playing the Europa League winners, Atalanta, no less. And then the next game after that is a home game, but it's the hardest of the home games. It's RB Leipzig, who many German football experts have been saying are actually better than Borussia Dortmund. They're actually a better team. And they did beat us a couple of seasons ago under Ange at Celtic Park, dusted the side pretty smoothly on the night. I think they beat us 2-0, and we didn't really trouble them. I know we beat them a couple of years before that in a Europa League game, but a couple of years in the Champions League, they saw us off pretty easily. So there is a fear, Liam, that after 4 games, we could be sitting on 3 points still, because realistically, when I looked at the way the fixture list came out, what would I have expected Celtic to be on after 2 games? 3 points. But yeah, the next 2 games coming up, and especially after the doing that we've just taken away from home, where you're now worried that, Atalanta away, things don't change, then we could realistically be looking at it could be 3 points after 4 games. And hopefully that's not the case. Hopefully, especially the RB Leipzig game at home, we turn up and we make Celtic Park the fortress it can be. But I think that might be something that's in a lot of people. I think, see if the fixtures were after that game there, Young Boys of Bern next, and then like Dynamo Zagreb away. If that was the order of the fixtures, I think the mood right now, there wouldn't have been so much like vitriol on Tuesday night and anger, because again, people would see that, well, the next 2 games coming up are more favourable. But unfortunately, the next 2 games in the calendar on the way the fixtures have came out are probably 2 of the ones that these are the games we don't need right now after what Dortmund did to us. Do you think that's weighing on some people's minds?
Let me go back a bit there, Phil. We're normalising a 6-1 defeat, right? And I think that's got bigger impact than just what the points are. I think there has to be a mental strength to your team as well in the dressing room, right? And I think anybody that normalises a 6-1 defeat as part of the process of the growing, I don't know, that doesn't seem to be that Roy Keane type of football. That you know me, the stories when you listen to these players talk now, because we've got so much YouTube shows and that, you hear them talking about the guys being tough in the dressing room and how much it meant to win. And I don't know, normalising a 6-1 defeat, to me, I think that's the thing that have a lot of people looking at, okay, well, it's 3 points, exactly where we expect it to be. But I didn't expect to have to deal with the other stuff as well, because that has, I think, a bigger impact on the fans emotionally. So it must have a huge impact on the players emotionally. You got to do it. It's like they say, boxers are never the same after they've been knocked out. They always come back different. They're not the same guy. You hear that for loads of MMA guys and all that as well. Once you've been knocked out, once you've had a doing, you don't come back the same. And that's the doing. And so you've got to think about, okay, like, I don't know, I don't want, like when I'm signing new players, don't want guys at comfy teams that get beat 6-0 all the time. I think that's a lot of problem with the Scotland team. We've got a lot of defenders that play for teams that usually get battered.
Yep.
You know, and so, you know, it's trusty. Because we are teams that's used to getting battered. You know, there's certain guys that know how to clamp it down that don't know how to get battered. You're still going to get beat, but you don't want to get battered, because I think it knocks more at your team mentally than what it will physically or with points. You know.
Yeah, it was. It could be a mentality thing. Funny enough, Pam, I did see that Peter Schmeichel was talking on Tuesday night, but he said to Casper, saying, you know, go into the dressing room and they'll be the leader that the players they have after the beating, because yeah, that's what they're going to need right now. They're going to need to be mentally strong. Luckily, you know, we're back to domestic action, and we will talk about obviously our next opponent in a little later on. But yeah, it's they are going to have to, they can't just brush it off. It's all well and good, the whole saying, I won't change my tactics, and it was a free hit. I know I opened up the last game, but they were saying it was a free hit, and to a degree it was, but there is still a level of, we can accept it up to a point, but to lose 7 goals in the way we did, and I say it's deja vu, we've seen it quite a few times in recent years. It's that whole thing of, we'll learn from this, and then we just go and do the same things again. I can remember quite infamous in the Gordon Strachan era, funny enough, when we were actually quite good in Europe. We actually were able to get some half-decent results. I remember Gary Caldwell scoring an own goal against Benfica and then saying after the game, we'll learn from this. And then he scored another own goal against Aalborg and then another one against Arsenal. It's like, you've not learned from this at all. But this is like a different level of extreme where, yeah, we've been losing, 7-0 to Barca in 16 and 2017, 7-1 to PSG, and 6-0 last season, 7-1. It's, there has to be, like, I can accept a defeat where we're losing to a team that is a powerhouse in comparison to us in Europe, but it was like, we gave up after 2 goals. In fact, at one point on the commentary, because obviously you said you hadn't like watched the game, and Neil Lennon was doing the commentary for TNT Sport, and at one point he said something along the lines of, you know, we went 2-1 down, and obviously he said, you know, they're still in the game, which of course they are, they're 2-1 down, but he said if it goes to 3-1, you know, they'll still be in the game at that. But even when he said that, I was like, has he watched Celtic in Europe? I mean, this guy managed Celtic, but has he watched us in Europe? When we go 2 goals behind usually in these fixtures, you can forget it. We're out for the count at that point. And yeah, as soon as it did go to 3-1, it was 4-5 not long afterwards. And yeah, it's a mentality thing, because realistically, if you are just 2 goals behind and it's still midway through the first half, then just batten down the hatches, try and get to half time and regroup. But even at 3-1, I think most fans would have felt it that this is done. When I was watching it live, man, that's exactly how I felt. And that's a mentality thing. And because experience for us, what we've seen the team in recent years in Europe, you know, a 2-goal margin shouldn't be a bad thing. Celtic should still be a foothold in the game. But yeah, it's a horrible feeling that you're midway through the first half, 2 goals behind, and you're just like, there's no point. There's no point in me watching the rest of this. Honestly, we're done at that point. So mentality has to be right. So there are a few weeks they've got to play Atalanta and Bergamo. So Europa League champions, they are a very, very decent outfit. But I would like to think that, you know, a bit of caution has to be found. Because I said earlier on to Liam there about, it's easy for Brendan to sit there and be bullish about it and say, but surely deep down he must know that there is a hybrid that he can work on, something he can do. There's plenty of results you can point to in Europe over recent years where I know that Sharif, a team from Armenia, I want to say, beat Real Madrid in the Bernabeu a few years ago. I mean, you know, these things can happen. So they can definitely do it. So I'd like to think, you know, that Brendan ultimately will be drilling into them when that Atlanta game approaches, that we just need to be a bit more careful with the ball. That's the first and foremost, because we're giving it away way too easily and you're just inviting pressure onto yourself. So I'd like to think there'll be a bit more caution this time when we play Atlanta in a few weeks, Pam.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think any game is necessarily decided beforehand. I think we can always put up a fight. Mm-hmm. You know, there's going to be some games where obviously the major underdog, but I don't like that I didn't like what he was referring to about, oh, we can't really learn from this, we just have to move on. There's always something you can learn, like whether you have to tighten up certain areas of the field or, you know, just something, if somebody has a weak spot, you know, that you can find out, you know, there's always something to learn. But I think that's probably the main thing, you know, the guys will have to focus on, is not panicking, because even I couldn't see it, but just hearing from the commentary, the amount of mistakes they were making after they went even just 2-1 up, you know, it was like, guys, this feels different. Yeah. You know, just take a breath and, you know, kind of compose yourself a little bit before even just kicking it away. Just compose yourself and don't panic, really. You know, as he's saying, Dad's Army, don't panic.
Yeah, just get to half time and just regroup, even if it's a 2-goal margin. But yeah, when we went 5-1 at half time, it was like, yeah, game's a bogey. And Graham Tyrrell, yes, he said, can we move on? I'm honestly sick about talking about it. Yeah, we're going to move on now anyway, because nothing we can do. It's done. We've also got Champions League fixtures coming up in a few weeks. The Atalanta are next, then RB Leipzig at home. Hopefully, we're sitting not on 3 points after 4 games. Hopefully, we can make something of those two. But anyway, the immediate future is obviously Ross County at Dingwall on Sunday. Quite interestingly, despite playing on a Sunday, we are actually playing before the two teams that are chasing us down in the title fight. I believe that Aberdeen are playing Hearts, who were playing last night. So their game gets moved to a Sunday. And Rangers, quite curiously, are playing a Sunday night game at 8 o'clock at Ibrox, which, yeah, if the Celtic Park game was at 8 o'clock on a Sunday, God, that would be a real test. I mean, it's hard enough when you get a 3 o'clock game on a Sunday at Celtic Park, but 8 o'clock. So I don't know how that's ended up happening in fixtures, but hey, thankfully it's not us. But anyway, we are up at Dingwall on Sunday lunchtime, live on Sky Sports. And yeah, Liam, in terms of with the team and whatnot, selections after what happened on Tuesday night, for me, I don't think you go and ring in wholesale change. That was our strongest team, essentially, right now, given injuries. I don't see any point in, you know, we'll bring in, I mean, I don't think there's many players you can really change. I say we just keep going with the strongest 11, because domestically, that's been working. There's no reason domestically to, we need to ring in the change. And they took such a doing there on Tuesday night. They were a bit shaken up to play Ross County. No, I think you have to stick with, unless there's injuries, and I believe there might be a doubt over Alistair Johnson. That might be the fresh one, because obviously CCV we know is injured and won't make it. But there's now talk about AJ maybe missing the game. But outside of that, Liam, I don't think we'll see much in the way of changes.
So I saw Taylor as being injured as well. Saw that.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Or not. I mean, but that's definitely the one I would look at. I mean, Friday night. I'm not going to go on about it. I mean, but
Graham Tyrrell, ring the Greg Taylor klaxon, Graham.
It's yeah, but I want to see what Valley can do there. I want to see what he can do. I thought he looked promising when he came on. He's had a couple of good tackles. He won a couple of good aerial duels. He won some tackles. I wasn't your wanting a defender today, so let's hoping that Brendan looks at that and just says, okay, right, this, you know, we know we need to improve that position, and that might take some of the weight off Callum McGregor. You know, and he's another one that's got to buck up his games as well. You know, at what point, like, is Luke McCowan allowed to compete for that position? You know what I mean? Because, you know, it seems to be a couple of players that we've had in lock-in in positions now that you can't get out. You know, no matter if they have a good game or a bad game, they're just locked in there. And so that concerns me as well. So, now Rocky, do you give him a shot now? Because I thought, okay, well, I've not seen him play as bad as that. I mean, I've seen him let in one goal, and, you know, he was just caught, and he was caught with probably the most unformed striker, you know, in Britain at the time of one of them, at least in Scotland. You know, so I don't know. I think there is an opportunity to make a change, but you make a statement as well. I mean, you know, if it's through injuries, that makes it easy. It's convenient, right?
Yeah.
But if you do it anyway as well, it also shows you, okay, well, maybe he has learned for that gubbin we got the other night and realised a lot of the stuff came down that wing that we were not adequately able to defend in that part of the pitch. And so we just can't ignore it, fix it. Then there's a good chance. And, you know, get people like the new players, like the Spanish boy and stuff, an experience to see what it's like playing close to the North Pole.
Yeah, no, it'll be a very well, luckily it's still October, so it's not too bad yet. But yeah, the next time we play Ross County will probably be like February or something like that up at Dingwall, so he's in for a real shock. That'll be a cold one for him that day. Funny enough, a few names, Graham Tyrrell has said Nawrocki, he's agreeing with you, but right-sided defenders should be in ahead of Trusty. Again, Brendan's been very bullish on the whole Nawrocki thing. Whatever's happened there, I know he sees him in training every day. He makes the decision. But yeah, Nawrocki, again, from what I've seen, for me personally, I don't think he's done all that much wrong. But again, Brendan's a manager. He picks the team. He sees them in training, so he makes that judgment. So who knows? But again, when it comes to be sorting the Falkirk game, if Nawrocki can't get picked ahead of Stevie Welsh, then that's a really worrying sign. So you'd like to think at the very least Nawrocki must be next in line if anything happens to Trusty or Scales with an injury or a suspension, then surely he must be the next feasible option. But it was wild, that Falkirk game, that he didn't even get picked in the starting lineup for that one. Mental to see. And another name there, Pam, that we obviously brought up was obviously McCown. And Ian McIntosh is saying, I want to see more of McCown. I think he'll feature quite regularly this season. Then Cal McGregor is a club captain. He will be picked for pretty much every game. There'll be very rare times where, even when we're playing low league teams in the Cups, I'd be shocked if McGregor doesn't play. But McCown, I think, is going to feature quite a bit. There's a lot of fans who are a bit like, McCown, I'm not too impressed by his signing, Dundee player. He's already in his mid-20s. I was quite sceptical as well. It wasn't one that filled me with confidence, but every time he's came on the park, he's looked lively and he's got something to his game. Obviously, diehard Celtic fan, that's going to inspire him even more. He was, of course, involved in the brilliant team goal last week, Pam, against St Johnstone. The setup where he chipped it over for Alex Valier, brilliant first touch right into Adam Eder's path, and goal. So I think McCown is going to feature well. Will he start the game? I don't know. Let's talk about them, Pam, about that midfield area, because that has been a bone of contention coming out of Tuesday night and for the last couple of weeks, because, as I say, McGregor's place is probably nailed on because he's the captain. Engels, you'd expect, would be a regular now going forward because of the price we paid. But obviously the other jersey, Hatate, Bernardo and McCown, now on the scene, and McCown's doing a lot to make Brendan pay attention to him. So it'll be interesting to see what happens, because Bernardo did get a start on Tuesday. I myself was like, good, that is the call here, because Bernardo keeps the ball very well, and nobody could keep the ball. Bernardo had a shocker, like many of them did on Tuesday. Hatate came on, and there were some fans saying, see, Hatate should never have been dropped. We were 5-1 down when Hatate came on. I think all he did that was different from Bernardo was he blazed one over the bar, and I think he copped a booking as well at one point. And it's like, well, at that point, I mean, in the second half, Dortmund did slow down a wee bit. But regardless of that, this jersey, the midfield, again, though, Pam, it is competition. It's what we as fans want, because I feel if there is competition there, it'll keep the players sharp. It'll keep them playing at their best that they can, because they know my position isn't safe here. So it's going to be an interesting one of what he goes with for that other midfield spot on Sunday. If McCowan does come in and get a start, maybe I say he's not done anything wrong. He's been very well involved when he comes on. Bernardo, will he be shell-shocked from Tuesday night? Will he keep his place? Will Hatate come back in? That's definitely a bit of an intriguing one, isn't it, Pam?
Yeah, definitely. I would like to see more McCowan as well. I was also really impressed with him during the derby as well. I think he had a very good derby, so I'd like to see more of him. I'll be honest with you, I'm pretty ignorant when it comes to Scottish football outside of Celtic, so I didn't really know much about him beforehand. Like, I knew I kind of knew where he was from, and like I knew he had a Celtic background, but I was like, I'll judge him when I see him. Yeah. And I was kind of glad I had that attitude, because he would have proved me wrong, definitely. And it'd be good. I think it'd be good to get some competition going. In terms of Bernardo, he does captain the Portuguese under-21 team, I believe. So he should have some resilience from that position. So I think he will be able to bounce back. I think, even just give him, part of this game, and, he'll be back to normal soon enough. Because for me, he has really cemented himself in the starting 11 for me. In Scotland, playing Scotland anyway, not necessarily in the Champions League. But so I think once he kind of gets used to that normal again, I think we'll have like a healthy competition. Definitely between him and McCowan. In regards to Tate's kind of been falling off for me, to be honest. I don't think he ever reached the peak that he was in Ange's second season, in my opinion. Please feel free to hit back at that, but he's been really on and off, and I don't have the trust in him that I would have for Bernardo, and the trust that's starting to build for McCowan.
Yeah, no, it's definitely the case with the Hatate stuff. I'm very mixed on Hatate as well, because we know how good he can be. We've seen it. I think people have been too much into the body language. Experts have been coming out a lot recently, like we saw during the season we don't speak of anymore, the COVID one. The John Kennedy body language experts about how he would smile and stuff like that when he shake Neil Lennon's hand and all that. And all that's nonsense. But it seems like they are back now going on about Hatate's body language. I just think that's just generally his demeanour. But in terms of I thought it was the right call on Tuesday night to play Bernardo, but again, I was proven completely wrong, because Dortmund completely swamped us, and Bernardo and the whole theory of he keeps the ball better, it didn't work. And I think if Hatate had started, I don't see it being much better as well on Tuesday night. I think we were lambs to the slaughter, unfortunately. In terms of Sunday, I say it's a toss-up right now. I could see Hatate coming back in. Again, it's a game where you'd expect we're on the front foot. I think he'll benefit from that. He's always partial to a goal from distance. Bernardo's also shown he can do that as well. So there is options there, and it's good headaches to have. This is the headaches we want the manager to be having. So in the competition, we'll keep them sharp. So yeah, I'm glad that I'm glad that is there, and it's making Brendan think twice rather than it's a nailed on starting 11 every single week. So yeah, that is one of the positions that's definitely up for grabs. But in terms of the forward line, this is an interesting one, because I'd convinced myself as well ahead of Tuesday night, Liam, that Kyogo was the right call, because obviously last Friday Russell had jumped on was, and initially my thoughts before Tuesday happened was it's got to be Ademida. Got to keep the ball up there, big target man. Knock the ball up to him, let him keep it, and then get a midfield runner. But then, of course, Russell was saying, well, Dortmund are going to be on the front foot most of the games, so Kyogo getting in behind would make sense. But it's no good if nobody gets the ball up to him. Dyson Maeda was doing a bit of getting in behind, but he can only do so much. Obviously, he did score the only goal. There was one point as well where he did so well to win the ball back. Like, he miscontrolled it, then slide tackled the player, won it back, and then had a shot that just went over the bar. But yeah, Maeda was doing it all himself. Kyogo did not really get into the game at all, but who really was, let's be honest. So when it comes to Sunday, it's like, what do you give Ida a start here? Kyogo, do you just give him again? It's good options to have, and there's two different dynamics to them. But where would you be leaning on that one, Liam, when it comes to Sunday? Do you keep Kyogo in and just Tuesday nights just it is what it is, or do you think no, Ross County again, the stereotypical Scottish hammer thrower team, but big hatchet men essentially? Do we get the more physical side in there, get Ida in, or where would you be going in that one?
That's a hard one. I mean, that's the one where we're going to see what sort of tactics we want to play against these hammer throwers. You know, is it the same thing where the ones where I always feel more where like Kyogo's really going to be vulnerable are the ones he ends up showing up in and does really well. I think when he's up with a big bruiser, like every time I see him near that big rocky guy, Hibernian, and I think he was the one that got sent off or something. There was somebody who got in an altercation with as well. That might have been Hibs, and I think, oh, he's going to get destroyed in here. He's just going to get ragdolled about the place. Those are the games where he shows up. So I don't know if like offsetting that with that is what's going to be Ross County, because I don't think the boys are used to playing against players like Kyogo. Even training or anything like that. They don't. It's new. It's like having something smaller and more energetic. You've got to completely adjust your everything. You're not playing against a Shankland or the Kenny Miller clones that keep coming through, right? So, I think that's why you play Kyogo. And then I think, let's take him off early. Let's do some man management here. And let's build up two strikers' confidence then as well. I think we've not been good at that. And I know we've had injuries and that lately. But some players, like, we played Greg Taylor 90 minutes every game. At some point, we should have been seeing who else can play that position. Same with Norocki. I mean, training's different than playing football. I know what I've seen him playing football, and I don't know what Roger sees with him in training. And it's like, so I've seen with my own eyes that, he's a bit of a player there. Yeah. So, I don't know, some guys can do it better in training than they can in the pitch. I know, like, played football, I was one of the players. When the pressure's not on you, you got a wee bit more time and all, you look like a world beater, right? And then you do it in a real game, and it's like, God, these guys that can just show up and do it every game, right? Mentality, winners, and I think that's what Brendan's got to look at tomorrow, and whether it's his striker or his midfielders, who's going to play. I think he's got to find out who's the winners in the team now, who wants to win, because I think it's going to be a battle, that game. We can't all play the free flowing stuff every game, or at least get the boys. They can do both.
Yeah, it's the thing is, David Kelly came in and talked about the rotation here, and he's right about the ton of games that we've got. We're going to have to see rotation here, and the thing is, I think domestically, I still have no worries at all. What happened on Tuesday happened. We can't change it now. There's still plenty of games to go there, but I think domestically, no matter what we go with, I think we'll see them all off this season. There will be blips all the way. Invincible season, I don't see that happening again, like 2016-17. But I think overall, we've got a strong enough squad there, strong enough pool of players to get back on track pretty quickly here after that setback. But let's talk quickly before we do our score predictions, and then I've got a surprise at the end of the show. Let's talk about a positive. One of the guys who came out with pass marks on Tuesday night, and just in general his play recently. But Pam Dyson Maeda has been excellent, and obviously I've not been on since last week, and I want to bring this up because obviously up at McDermott Park he was fantastic, as most of the team were that night. So how do we think the SFA, Pam, are going to justify disallowing that perfectly good goal that he scored, the VAR one that got disallowed? Because I was when it happened, like honestly, I was aghast at it. I was like, what are they going to do to spin this? It's no good Willie Collum coming out on his little VAR show on YouTube at the end of the month and going, sorry guys, we got that wrong. LOL. We'll move on to the next one. It's like, come on, man. I can't even fathom what they're going to do. Even if they tried to say something like there was a head knock, so the play should have stopped, but it's not a foul. It could have got treated after the goal had been scored. Because I know there's obviously a lot of things about concussion protocol, and the boy did have to go off and he was down for a long time. But it still isn't a foul if that's how they try to spin it. Because this has to come up surely when old Willie Collum speaks about it at the end of the month in his VAR show. So I've been intrigued to see what he does. But it denied Dyson Maeda an absolutely storming goal with a volley. But it didn't deter him anyway, because he was fantastic on the night, got his goal, And just in general, his play has been outstanding. Early shout, but could he be in with a shout of Player of the Year at this point, Pam? Do we dare even suggest at this stage in October, Dyson Maeda Player of the Year? Has it got a nice ring to it?
Well, personally, he's my Player of the Year.
Mm.
Because he's one of the few players on the team that I can fully trust every game to show up. He's just fantastic, whether he's doing a support role or whether he's actually scoring. He just does the job. You know, one of the reasons why I do like him so much is because he really carries that left side. He goes back a lot to help out Greg Taylor as well. And he's also, and then he's up forward assisting Kyogo like in the flash. Yeah. That's one of the reasons why he's one of my favorites. He's my Player of the Year personally. I think if he keeps going, he has a really good shout, and it will make Shankland look really strange. I'm still not really over that, to be honest.
Yeah.
But it will make it look really strange. So.
Yeah, he's I mean, that moment last week as well when he chased down the ball and like, what was it, the 86 minutes, 6-0 up, tracks back, and he did it, I'm sure, against was it against Bratislava as well? Another one, but winning heavily late in the game, and he's chasing the ball down, and he's been fantastic this season, and hopefully it continues. But yeah, denied him a perfectly good goal with his weaker foot as well. And he's right-footed, I believe, or is he left-footed? I can't even remember. Dyson made it. Is he both?
I think he's left, but he's ambidextrous.
Yeah, it was with his left foot anyway, but it was a great volley. But yeah, I'll be interested to see how Willie Collin comes out and explains that one at the end of the month in his wee show. But yeah, hopefully, I say Dyson, it didn't affect him on the night, and obviously he ended up getting his goal in the end. And yeah, he was phenomenal from start to finish. So hopefully that can keep up in that momentum, because against teams like Ross County, teams are going to sit with a low block, small park as well. So try to find space and exploit the space is always a wee bit tricky. But yeah, it would. Dyson Maeda's one of our better weapons for those types of scenarios. But yeah, in terms of the score on Sunday, we'll go to that just now then. So I think we'll bounce back pretty convincingly, Liam. I think we won't have much trouble at all. And I can see us again by another 3-goal margin at the very least. I think it's one of those ones we might need to wait a little while to get the first goal, but once it comes, I think we'll get a few, and we'll go into the international break on a bit of a high. What about yourself, Liam? What do you think for the score?
I'm saying 3-0. I think we're going to see Valley get his first goal for Celtic.
Alex Valley, yes. Well, I've been impressed by him, to be fair. He was written off, I think, too quickly by many after the Falkirk game, but no, I think he's looked no bad so far. And let's see what he's got. If he does get a start, I've got no worries if he does. And Pam, how do you think Sunday will go?
Yeah, my first thought was also 3-0. I think we'll bounce back, nothing too out of the park, but we'll bounce back and
back to the top of the league. Well, we're keeping there because we're playing before Aberdeen and Rangers. It'd be handy if both of them would draw points, but Aberdeen are playing Hearts, and well, Hearts did win their first game last night. Strangely, an away game in Europe was their first win of the season. But there you go, get rid of Stevie Naismith and look what happens. You win a game away from home in Europe. But I don't trust Hearts to take anything off Aberdeen, and Rangers at home, St Johnstone. Regardless of the stupid kick-off time, I'd expect Rangers will win that. But hey, you never know. Maybe St Johnstone and Hearts will do us a wee favour and just keep them at arm's length going into the international break. But ultimately, once the dust settles and the season goes on, I think we'll pull away from them. I don't see we play Aberdeen right after the international break, so that'll be the first big test for them. We'll see what they're made of then, because they haven't really played any of the, they've played most of the bottom half teams so far. So we'll see what they're made of, but we'll deal with that in a couple of weeks' time. Now, I said at the top of the show, I've got a surprise for the end of the show. I've got a surprise segment. I haven't told Liam, I haven't told Pam what it is, so there's shrouded in mystery as the rest of you are. But if I was to do this, would that bring back PTSD for anybody? Would it? It's been a little while, and people have wondered, where's the quiz? Because Monday Club hasn't happened in a long time. Jono, by the way, I'll just say right now, Jono has not left the channel. It's just a time thing right now, trying to get Jono's schedule to match up. So people need the fix of a quiz, and if you are an old school Bhoycie Bus viewer, you will know that Friday nights was the quiz night on the bus with the double down quiz. That's where it all started, with Russell doing that. So I thought, why not? Let's have some sudden death. It's been a while. Let's have a bit of fun. And also, Pam, you've not had your initiation since you've joined the channel of a quiz, because all of us had to do a quiz when we came on the show for the first time. So it's a bit overdue, but let's call it your initiation, Pam. So we're going to have Liam against Pam in a round of sudden death. And right now, I imagine they want to kill me, but I'm going to ask, how do you feel about that, guys?
Oh, brilliant, Phil. I'm great. I'm buzzing, ready to go. Don't know if Pam knows. I once had a 10 out of 10 in one of these. So, aye, take me on. Come on.
You did actually. So, do you need me to recap the rules of sudden death? I think I'll do it for the benefit of viewers that haven't watched it yet. So, yeah, it is a penalty shootout style competition. I have got a question with multiple answers, and yeah, they will take it in turns to give me an answer. They get it right, they score a goal, and if they don't, me, the goalkeeper, saves the shot. And yeah, it's obviously best of 5. It might have to go a bit longer than 5. At the most, we'll go to 10 guesses each, and if it does go all the way, it will be a tiebreaker question. So yeah, we also have a little niche rule as well that the person who goes second is entitled to a clue. If they are struggling, the person, so you can either go first and put the pressure on if you're quite confident that you'll do all right, or you can go second and be entitled to a clue. What I'll do just now is I'll also cue up the music, which is something we've not heard in a wee while. So yeah, let me dust the old tune off and get that going. There it is there, still saved. Okay. Yeah, all the other aesthetics set up. And of course, comments off Pam and Liam. No comments, please, because obviously. Okay, so as what I used to do was it was Bono and Russell, and it would be the winner last week gets to choose if they go first or second. Obviously, we don't have that now because it's not Jono and Russell. So, Pam, I'm going to allow you to pick. Do you want to go first or second?
Well, my memory's pretty bad, so I'll take all the help I can get and go second.
That's absolutely fine. So, Liam, you will be going first on this one. Okay, so tonight's question, you'll be happy to know. One, it's a Celtic question, because obviously I mixed it up a wee bit with non-Celtic questions, but it is Celtic. And it is also quite recent, because normally I will do things like a massive date range, but the date range is quite kind. So there are a very nice 16 answers to this one, guys. 16, not too bad. And I've actually got a banner with the question on it, and I am looking for players from 2020 to present day who have a surname that begins with any of these letters: C, E, L, T, I. And I know I've got C there twice because it has to spell it Celtic. But yeah, you've got 5 different letters. I'm looking for players from the 1st of January 2020 who've played a game for Celtic that have a surname that begins with C, E, L, T, or I. So there we go. So, Liam, there are 16 players that fit that criteria. Can you name one to start? His memory's gone blank.
Connolly. Connolly.
No, from 2020 to present day. Connolly is not a correct answer. Nope. Oh, Liam, you've had a shocker because you're going to kick yourself when you hear the answers, mate.
I know.
Pam, any Celtic player from 2020 to present day that has a surname that begins with any of those letters?
I'm sorry, I have to say it. Greg Taylor.
Greg Taylor has got you again, Liam. He's foiled you again. 1-0 to Pam after one shot each. Greg Taylor, yes, correct answer. So, Liam, back to you.
Right.
Oh.
Tierney.
Tierney left in the summer of 2019. He's just outside of the date range. Oh, Liam, 2-0. You missed 2. Right. Tierney, I mean, it's a good shout, but I say from the 1st of January 2020 to present day. So it's just from this decade. And Tierney just misses it. Otherwise, it would have been, I'd be going too far back then, there'd be way too many answers. So Pam, a chance to go 2-0 up here.
Adamita.
Adam Eder is correct. Yes, indeed. Right, Adam Eder, spot on. Okay, Liam, you need to recover here, mate. You've got to recover.
Right.
Gustav Lagerbielke, yes, indeed, he is correct. Gets you back in it, Liam. Okay, Pam.
Cameron Carter-Vickers.
Yes, Carter Vickers is his double barrel second name, so his name actually second name begins with a C. So Cameron Carter Vickers is correct. So Liam, you need to score this, or else Pam has won. Your mic keeps cutting out.
Adam Eder.
Pam's already said Adam Eder. Say another one. Your mic's cutting out, Liam.
Nah, I'm done.
Passing. You're just passing on it. Okay, fair enough then. He's surrendering it. That's fine. No worries. So, Pam, you've won your debut episode of Sudden Death. You've won it. But for the fun, do you want to give me another answer? You're on a roll?
Sure. Arne Engels.
Arne Engels. Yeah. An E. Spot on. Okay. Yeah, Greg Taylor getting you again, Liam. Foiled by Gregory Taylor. I mean, it had to happen. It just had to. It's Gregory's revenge. That's what it is. Right, I'll give you all the answers that you've missed. I say you just missed it. Liam, this is all the ones that you could add. So, for the C's, Ryan Christie. For the E's, Odson Edwards. Moy El Yunusi. For the L's, Diego Laxalt. And Boston Lawal. Remember him? He played a couple of games for the first team. For the T's, David Turnbull. Obviously, Cameron Carter-Vickers, American teammate alongside him, Austin Trusty. And also, remember this guy, Marco Tilio, played 1 or 2 games. Yep. And another one who's only played a very small role this season, but he does count because he's played in a first-team game, Francis Tully, who is one of the youngsters that's coming through at the moment. He's came on as a sub this season. And there's a couple for the I's as well. Ideguchi and Iwata are correct answers as well. So yeah, Greg Taylor getting you. Shocking. But yeah, it was Gregory's revenge. Anyway, that concludes an episode of Sudden Death. So yeah, it should be back more regular. I'm obviously wanting to get Mick back on the show as well. He's on a wee break just now. He needs to do his initiation. So we need to get him on to do a Sudden Death as well at some point. But yeah, there you go, Pam. You're the winner. So victory speech. On you go.
Thank you, Greg Taylor.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, it was. Cheers, Graham Tyrrell. Great question. Thank you very much. People in the chat, Liam. Honestly, Liam is crumbling.
No, he's not pulling the Russell. He's not pulling the Russell.
No, it's amazing.
That's it. Well, that's the thing. I had to surprise you with it. I couldn't tell you in advance because you probably would have been like, "Get that." No, we're not doing a quiz. I had to hit you out of nowhere. And your mind just goes blank. It's hard to do. And also remember, in the other episodes I've done of this, Russell and John always struggled with the more recent answers, and all the answers were in the last 4 years. And sometimes it is harder to, I don't know, something just goes blank in your mind about more recent events than you always think further back. It's a weird phenomenon. But yeah, there you go. Sudden Death back on the Bhoycie Bus on a Friday night. There we go. So yeah, when Mick's next on as well, I'll get him to have a game as well. But you're the reigning champion right now, Pam. You're coming for Jono's crown.
No.
So yeah, there's 2 times in a row he's won it. But yeah, other than that, we will head off because we're coming up to the hour anyway. So yeah, all good. And yeah, folks, so thanks for watching. And yeah, we will be heading off now. So enjoy the game on Sunday, wherever you watch it and however you watch it. And hopefully we'll be talking about another resounding Celtic victory, back on track, heading into the international break. Of course, PMP will be around on Sunday afternoon, so keep your eyes peeled for that. Hit the subscribe button and you'll know when it goes live because you'll be notified of it. And yeah, folks, we are heading off. So yeah, enjoy the rest of your night and your weekend, whatever you're up to. And we shall see you later. Ciao.